Fiverr and the Easter Bunny Olympics, Part 2 of 4. As I reread Bunny Tales Great and Small, I was again bewildered over how and why there had been such outright anger and rejection concerning those Black Beatrix bunnies becoming Easter bunnies. While I was bewildered, I was very glad that after nearly 150 years, the resistance to the Potter Epistle had transubstantiated into acceptance. I didn't understand how including black bunnies as Easter bunnies could be heretical, literally insulting God. But I was glad by the time I was born, more and more rabbits were demanding that white bunnies be included as Easter bunnies too. Fiverr, my dad, was very fond of reminding me that back in his great-great-grandfather's day, that white bunnies had been seen as Dalits, untouchables. For 1900 years, the white pariah hadn't even been allowed into the Olympic stadiums, let alone been accepted as near equals who were allowed to compete. Fiverr explained that by the time he and Clover came along, the Great Inclusion Debate, also known as the Peter Rabbit Principle, was accepted as a hop in the right direction by all right-thinking rabbits, that black bunnies were now, if not celebrated, then at least tolerated, but that many still refused to accept white bunnies as equals. Yes, Fiverr would add sorrowfully, there's still plenty of brown bunnies who speak of the old separate but equal days wistfully. That every day I still hear a brown bunny reminisce about bygone times when whites knew their place and didn't buck or doe the system. Fiverr had insisted that including black bunnies was now accepted by most of God's good rabbits, but conceded that a small but highly insistent group of very exclusionary brown bunnies still knew that only the old brown bunny ways were the right ways, and that while small in number, they remained very vocal. Both Fiverr and my book said that as a great change that occurred well before my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grand-rabbit's time, this now 156-year-old nod towards inclusion of black bunnies was widely accepted, unlike the far more recent softening of the rules that allowed any bunny of good moral character to compete regardless of where a bunny's fur fell on the color spectrum. Sitting on the floor of my bedroom, I turned to the next chapter in my book. The chapter that held far greater interest for me than had the one on the Potter Epistle. Though no bunny living today predates the Here Comes Peter Cottontail 1949 magisterium, it remains that the inclusion of all good bunnies proved an even harder egg to swallow than in including black bunnies as Easter bunnies. The book attributed greater resistance towards white bunnies due to the abundance of white bunnies who hold different spiritual and liturgical beliefs than brown. Opening the Easter Bunny games to any bunny who hopped along ran counter to 2,000 years of brown bunny tradition. The article quoted Ignace Lacus, who declared, "It absolutely runs counter to the spirit of the annual Easter Olympics to allow bunnies who cannot accept the majority's position on when Easter is to participate with those who understand God's proper place in the universe." This deeply rooted and widespread contention was laboriously addressed at the 1949 Easter Bunny Olympic Committee Convention. After much heated debate and many votes that failed to reach a 55% majority, the committee came to the compromise of including white rabbits as Olympians only after attaching a name change to the game's amendment to the statute. Though the Bunny Olympic Committee voted on the What's in a Name magisterium, the media immediately began referring to Here Comes Peter Cottontail in their coverage. Thus, the article said the 2,000-year-old selection process of the Easter Bunny Olympics was updated and rechristened the Easter Bunny Olympics. With the diamond anniversary of the What's in a Name reformation fast approaching, most bunnies had grown resigned to the official policy of including white bunnies and tactfully chose not to dwell on the schism between white rabbits whose churches said Easter fell between April 4th through May 8th and black and brown ones whose Easters hopped up on some Sunday between March 22nd and April 25th. The Paschal moon rules were a mystery to darker bunnies, and those who celebrated Easter between March 21st and April 18th were seen as peculiar to most bunnies. But brown and black mostly took a live and let live attitudes towards the differing dates, though there were still plenty who privately disagreed very strongly with the idea of including bunnies whose Easter fell outside the majorities in Easter celebrations. Truth was that most bunnies were only vaguely aware that nearly all black and brown bunnies celebrated Easter on different Sundays than most white ones, It wasn't the differing date that exclusionary bunnies concentrated on, but rather the easily seen color of fur differences that sadly still divided many within the bunny community. My family and I, however, were among the tiny minority who not only knew that Easter's arrival went directly paw in paw with Passover, but were also covered in fur of decidedly mixed hues. While there remain many in the white bunny minority who perennially lobbied for their Easter to be declared the Easter, as usual, this Easter would again recognize the majority brown and black bunnies' Easter as the Easter. All over the planet, Easter bunnies would be hopping on April 9th in celebration, the very date that all the Olympic tryouts and hoopla were geared to culminate in this year's Olympic Easter Bunny winners, spreading Easter joy and cuteness for another worldwide extravaganza. I closed my book and looked out from my bedroom window where the sky had turned from black to deep purple and was now slowly shifting to mauve as the sun inched to the horizon line. Wondering if sleep was a lost cause, 8 o'clock arrived, and with it came a soft knocking on my bedroom door. "Are you up, buddy?" my father asked through the closed door. "I'm up," I said, thinking but not adding, "I'm not sure if I even fell asleep." "All right, can I come in?" "Sure." Fiver opened the door but did not enter. "We'll get you some breakfast and then over to the Wells Fargo." He added, "there has been a change of judges. Placid Paw's health took a downturn and he can't make it. Looks like Tempestus Lacus is going to be master of ceremonies," he concluded, looking me in the eyes. "Tempestus Lacus is today's head judge," I responded. "Great," I added, my voice like my shoulders slumping. "What's the point in even going then?" "Don't count yourself out just because Tempestus is judge. You just need to show him that it's not only brown bunnies that deserve to be Easter bunnies, right?" "Yeah," I replied, nodding but not smiling and wondering if Tempestus would even let me into the arena.